Let's get my squig juice here. What are we working on today? Oh, that's right.
I'm old Big Mek, and this is the Red Ones Go Faster! Whoa!
That's right. This is the Red Ones Go Faster. I am indeed Old Big Mek, and today we are working on Gorkamorkanaut, our Gorkanaut slash Morkanaut. Now, videos ago, we worked on getting him all fixed up and ready to go for the army, and today we are finishing his painting. And rather than sit here with a really long, boring video of me painting an already mostly painted thing, I decided what would actually be better is to talk about painting very large things, because it's very different from painting even large figures. You could see Mr. Big Mek there is quite a bit smaller than the Gorkanaut. So when it comes to painting giant vehicles, how does that differ? Well, the secret is you got to have that overall sauce. Look at that. You want that presence on the tabletop. You want it to look really good from far away. This Bernobama you will see across the table no matter what, because it's got such a wild paint scheme on it. Now, this is all done with freehand, and you don't have to freehand something in order to get that look or get that particular thing that you're looking for. So the Gorkamorkanaut you can see here is actually starting off pretty good. It's all red because, of course, the red ones go faster. I got to change his little guy here to be more orange to match the rest of my army, but you could see he stands out quite a bit despite just being a very simple paint job. The important thing here is all the armor is red and then all the details are orange, and it provides a lot of pop and a lot of flavor. So you definitely want to plan out your whole big paint scheme. The other thing you want to do is have some little details, so when people do look at your big thing on the board and they're like, wow, that's really cool, and they want to get close to it and look at it, they've got fun little things to actually look at. So in this case, it's that freehand design. It's asymmetric. It's different on both sides. It's got a lot of fun things going on with it. This guy, because he's not freehanded, what we have to do is some little details. So luckily, the model itself has some things we can work with. Some of the things we've added, such as having our little ammo grot here on top. But what we can do is all of the little custom force field generators, we can hand paint some little lightning bolts on, because that blue is going to pop against all the red and orange on the Gorkamorkanaut. And then, yeah, making sure that our little mech pilot and our little ammo grot are looking quite lovely. So we'll do that. All right, so in order to paint these little lightning bolts, what we're going to need is a nice thin brush. You want a long brush, not like a short brush, but you do want a nice tip on it, nice long and thin. This is an army painter detail. Use whatever floats your boat. And then a good thin paint that has a lot of opacity. I much prefer Tamiya. It's already thinned down, and it has much better opacity when it's thin than any of the mini painting type paints. So that's what I'm going to go with to make these little lightning bolts. And then I'll do what I can. I can't paint through the camera based on where it's at. So I'm going to do my best to show this on the camera so that you can all see it. All right, get zoomed in here. We're going to be painting it on the little nubbin right here. And what you want to do is you want to start off with the start of the lightning bolt, and you want to make long, jagged, going to a finer point. And then you want to continually branch off of the same ones. The more little branches it's going to have, the more kind of realistic it's going to look as far as lightning bolts go. Now, if you like learning about freehanding, which is kind of like my bread and butter on Warhammer painting, I'm not the best mini painter. I'm not the most prolific mini painter, but I do enjoy a good freehand and some detailing that is not your norm. So if you want to learn how to do that too, consider joining our Patreon, which is brand new. One of the things we are going to be doing on that compared to the regular channel is more things like the freehanding tutorials, because these tend to not do all that great on YouTube, but the people that like them definitely like them. And yeah, it would be lovely to support the channel. You could buy better equipment so that you can actually see what's going on better, and I can see what's going on better, which will help as well. We're still in there. We go. So again, you want as many sub branches as possible on that lightning. All right, so check that out. We've got kind of full lightning bolts on that. And then when you zoom out and you get it far away, right, it sells that effect. And so it gives a detail for people to look at on the Gorkamorkanaut. All right, and all of our little lightning bolts are done. You can see we've got them up here on the custom force field balls. Over here on the custom force field balls, back here on the little weapon piece, and then a little bit on his eye zapper thing. And again, it just kind of gives it a little detail, something to make it pop when people get looking close. Now, the next thing we're going to do is all of the lights. And for that, we're going to still need the white. You want to undercoat everything white. All right, so this trick, it works for lights and gauges. So what I did is I went ahead and undercoated all of the lights white, and then there were a couple of gauges. So like one back here on the weapon, and one, where'd the other one go? The other one was somewhere. Yeah, up here on the little thingy there. Now what we're gonna do is, again, more Tamiya stuff. X24 clear yellow for the lights, and X23 clear blue for the gauges. They also make a red, a green, and an orange. They're all equally great. What they do is they are a translucent, but very strong translucent, and in a very glossy way, which is perfect for lighting effects, because you're going to use that difference in glossiness, that difference in texture, to really sell that these are lights that are on, as opposed to just more paint. So again, you just put it right over that flat white. And what you want to do is make it thinnest where you want the highlight, the most translucent, and then thickest, pull off the brush where you want the dip in color to be. And then when it dries, again, you're going to have that glossiness, that glassiness to it. And it's going to really sell home that effect of this is a light that's on, as opposed to just a bunch of layers of paint. Now, the clear will reactivate paint, so you want to like get it on and get it done. The other thing it will do is curl your brushes. So I keep a dedicated brush just for this. So this is not something you want to use your super nice brushes on, because of the type of paint that it is and the way that it works. But it just works the business for really selling that effect. I've got the big one here on his belly. That one's probably going to take a couple. You can see I'm kind of more dabbing it than rubbing it around, because I don't really want to reactivate. And I do want that pull-off effect where it's darkest, where I pull the brush off. And that's how you get that gradient. Also, overloading the brush and dabbing it on, especially on the lights with the grills, works really well. It makes it kind of settle in like a contrast. And yeah, just really built it up. All right, I think that's all the headlights. Just like that. To give you a good idea of what that looks like when it's all finished and what I'm talking about. So here, there's just some orange paint, right? This is that clear, and you can see how much glossier the lights are than everything else, and how it really contrasts against the flat paint for the actual unit. And again, I've done it on the old Mek Boy workshop here too on the string of lights. It works really well on the string of lights because you can always do the pull off on the very bottom of the bulb. Alright, and as you can see, after a bunch of work, we've got Gorkymorkanaut looking like a fully painted figure ready for the tabletop. So did a lot of metal on it, did a lot of washes, did some touch-ups and some highlights, right? We've got our little grot ammo runt all painted up there. We've got our mech driver all painted up. We've done our freehand on the custom force field stuff. We've got all of our little extra gubbins painted. The inside is also looking quite good. We've got all the little add-ons in there and a bunch of stuff going on in there as well. We've done the gold on all the bullets there for the mega shooter thing. And yeah, just generally gotten it all tidied up and gotten a lot of the kind of random colors that were on it from before off and got it very uniform. Now, the one thing is when you really step back and look at it, it's still kind of missing some tabletop presence. And that's kind of the point of this whole video, is giving those big figures that presence. Now for me, for my works, how I do that is with the accent color with this orange. So basically you get the dark red laid down on the vehicle, and then you use the orange to make everything just absolutely pop and sing. And that's exactly what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna show you just how much it changes. So like these missile heads, for example, right? They're still blue from earlier. I don't really have anything blue in my army. And frankly, it's just kind of dark and dull. And I am going to dress all of these bad boys with orange. Alright, and with those all orange, you can see just how much more the missile arm really stands out. Now take a look at this, so you really know what I'm talking about. This door is still the original yellow. That door is the orange. Look at how much more imposing and how much just it draws your eyes in. You really want to use that super bright accent color in a way that's going to really make the piece stand out from far away on the tabletop. Da, 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 da. And just like that, now Gorkamorkanaut has some real battlefield presence. Has a certain glow about him. You can see I also use the orange touch-up on all the little glyphs and things like that to really kind of pop all those details. And even inside with the little arrow telling the boys which way to go. So with that, we are very near completion. The last step we have is, after all of this dries, is our chipping with our silver. Alright, and as you can see, Gorkymorky is looking fantastic with that orange paint dried, but we do have to chip that all up, and it's just like I showed you in one of the other videos. We use some sponge and some silver paint to put the chipping on there nice and easy. And again, those first pats are going to be like the most chipped, so you definitely want to put them on areas where you want lots of chipping. And then as you use up the paint on the sponge, you transition to other lighter areas. So the sponge is definitely going to grab raised details. Heavy down on the legs, because that's going to get super chipped up compared to the rest of Mr. Gorkamorky here. Same thing with his claws. His claws will get super chipped compared to anything else because he's using them on the regular. Eventually you'll get like these tight little spaces like in here. I want to be able to chip that up. Can't really get my fingers in there. Grab yourself your tweezers, put the sponge on the end of it, and then you can kind of squish it down in there. Something on that side. Very much kind of a trial and error technique, and you definitely want to go lighter, and then if it's not chipped up enough, like just make more passes at it and build it up. That also makes it look more natural versus just like heavily over chipping it the first time through. All right, that's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, we are ready for my absolute final step, which again is one that I've shown in another video, and that's the blood splatter that I kind of put on the weapons. Like right here, I use contrast flesh tears red and a really, really, really terrible brush that's all super splayed, because you're gonna, instead of brushing, you're gonna stipple, but you want those really random patterns on it. It's really, really, really hard on brushes. So yeah, don't do this with anything nice or expensive at all. Get the claws nice and open first, so we've got a good in there. And then again, lighter is better, and you can put more layers on depending on what it is you're after. And you can see when I get to the end of my stippling, if I want to make any kind of a spread or like a flow, I'm just pulling it outward with those bristles. And if you overdo it, you can always just peel some back off. And then yeah, some more on there. All right, where the chainsaw is, right? Like really kind of get after it. Lots of gore in there. Gory, 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 gore. That's just gonna rip everywhere. Yeah. Perfect. With that, well, maybe a little toes here. I'm gonna run some people over. With that, I think the Gorkamorkanaut is done and ready for the battlefield. Let me put a tuft or two on. And with that, we have finished our biggest, most impressive unit yet for our Orc army for our Orktober. You are looking at a Gorkanaut / Morkanaut that we affectionately will now know as Gorkymorky. And yeah, he is just awesome. Nice and bright, all the fun details, everything works now as it should. And yeah, what a centerpiece. What a way to get a bunch of points done for the month. Super happy with that. Thanks for hanging out with us this episode. Really appreciate each and every one of you watching, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. Super helps. We do have a Patreon that we've just launched. There's a link down in the description below. Basically, you're going to get first access to some videos. We're going to have some exclusive videos that are there. Things that are the slower pace, like how to paint the freehand stuff. All of our fun things will still be here on YouTube. And yeah, just really growing this. Really appreciate everybody hanging out with us through our Orktober. This has been a lot of fun. You guys have been a lot of fun. And yeah, until next time, walk on!